Lonzo Ball getting traded to the Chicago Bulls was the greatest thing to ever happen to him, but it also ruined his life. Lonzo Ball started off his career being unfairly put into the spotlight due to multiple reasons that were out of his control. The first reason being drafted to the Lakers with the combination of him being from Los Angeles and the spotlight filling the shoes of Laker legends that came before him in the past, such as Magic Johnson and Kobe Bryant. To make matters even worse, Lonzo Ball's playstyle was almost identical to Magic Johnson's playstyle, and to make matters even worse on top of that, Magic Johnson, who at the time was the Lakers GM, was the one who chose Lonzo Ball as the second pick in the 2017 NBA draft. Lonzo Ball was put into a bad position as a teenager in terms of the amount of pressure put onto the shoulders of one person that the majority of the population wouldn't even be able to fathom. The second reason was Lonzo's father, LeVar Ball, who was actively hyping up his son as much as he could on national TV, largely contributed to Lonzo's failures in LA. LeVar Ball went on national TV and made numerous of ludicrous statements, such as his son, who at the time was a freshman at UCLA, was better than the two-time MVP Stephen Curry. The world was shocked by this. NBA players were starting to hear everything being said about this kid, and they began salivating at the chance of humiliating this kid. The expectations were set on Lonzo before he could even dribble onto the NBA court. To begin the season in LA, Lonzo Ball got bullied by Patrick Beverley on national TV with no one there to defend him. Patrick Beverley heard all the noise about Lonzo Ball, about how good he was, and he wanted to leave a mark on Lonzo Ball that day that he would never ever forget. This day is pretty much how the rest of Lonzo's first year went. People were out to get him because of his father's words and the media hyping him up due to him being in Los Angeles. Multiple players were commenting on the situation regarding Lonzo and his father's notorious comments about him. They didn't go easy on Lonzo. To make matters even worse, the Lakers fans were starting to betray Lonzo. The people in LA were expecting Magic Johnson, not some great value version of Jason Kidd. Fans were getting tired of all the air balls and badly missed shots, and increasingly became frustrated with Lonzo's awkward shot form. The Lakers season ended with missing the playoffs, with fans and Lakers management being unsure of Lonzo Ball, who once seemed destined for stardom, and this season looked like an average NBA player and sometimes even below average. Then came LeBron James. In the summer of 2018, LeBron James signed with the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron signed on to play with a bunch of young players. Many people fully expected Paul George to sign with the team, but Paul George decided to stay with OKC, and the Lakers used the remaining cap space to sign role players. It was widely expected by everybody that eventually the young players on the Lakers, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, were eventually going to get traded for a star because everybody couldn't fathom why LeBron was signed on to play with a bunch of young players. Lonzo's second season in LA was ambushed by LeBron joining the team, and thus came the increased expectations to play good as LeBron's teammate. This is on top of the pressure of being the Lakers' starting point guard and their hometown kid. Well, how did Lonzo's second season go? It went pretty much the same as the first season. Lonzo didn't meet the expectations of fans, and his awkward jump shot was still bothering everybody. The Lakers just didn't have enough to make the playoffs, and were dealing with numerous injuries, including an injury affecting LeBron. It was a disappointing season for the Lakers. The Lakers missed the playoffs again. Then everything changed. Lonzo Ball and the rest of the young players besides Kyle Kuzma were traded to the New Orleans Pelicans for Anthony Davis. Lonzo Ball is going to go to New Orleans. This should be a good move for him. Lonzo Ball will finally be away from all the pressures of being the hometown savior, pressure from being a Lakers great, and the pressure of being LeBron's teammate. But there's one major problem now. Lonzo would now be playing alongside Zion Williamson, who was the most hyped draft prospect since LeBron, so that wasn't really ideal. But Lonzo made the best of it and improved his jump shot. He changed his form and became a good three-point shooter. He improved his three-point percentage from the previous season as a Laker by over 5%, and he was also taking more. Lonzo went from being an awful three-point shooter to being a very good one. Lonzo also made his presence known on the defensive end and drastically improved on that side. Lonzo's third season was seen as an overall improvement, and he was ready to improve more. But sadly, the Pelicans missed the playoffs. With less pressure on Lonzo, he became an above average NBA player and was no longer seen as a negative impact player who couldn't shoot. Lonzo's fourth season was practically the same. He didn't improve much, but he was still seen as a positive impact player who could make a difference on a playoff team. The Pelicans again missed the playoffs. The Pelicans were struggling with the idea of paying him, considered trading him before the trade deadline, but opted not to. The following offseason, when they either had to sign Lonzo to a long-term contract or trade him, they sadly opted to trade him. Lonzo Ball was traded to the Chicago Bulls in a sign and trade. Lonzo Ball was leaving the Pelicans and joining a team in Chicago that featured Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. Lonzo was entering a situation where there was no pressure of being an all-star since there was two on the roster already, and his only jobs were playing defense, handling the ball, and shooting open threes. This was Lonzo's best situation to be in yet. It was very clear by Lonzo's rookie season that he was probably never going to be an all-star, but rather a glue guy on a championship team that kept everyone together. And to by everybody's surprise, the Chicago Bulls started that year as the best team in the East. They blew everybody's expectations away, and a lot of it was due to Lonzo Ball's contributions to the team. doing all the dirty work and keeping the team afloat together. Then something tragic happened. On January 14th, 2022, Lonzo Ball suffered a meniscus tear and had surgery weeks later. He was only expected to be out 6 to 8 weeks and come back around the playoffs right before it. But on April 6, 2022, Lonzo Ball suffered a setback, and after it was widely reported that he will be back sometime soon, Lonzo Ball was still feeling pain. Lonzo was going to miss the rest of the season. And to make matters even worse, the Bulls fell off of the top spot in the Eastern Conference and finished as a 7th seed and got first rounded against the Bucks. Lonzo was still feeling pain in his knee before his 5th season began. And on September 29th, 2022, it was widely reported that Lonzo Ball was to have surgery again and was expected to miss a few months of the start of the season. In December 2022, there was an update from Lonzo Ball himself that his knee had improved in his day-to-day life, but he was still uncertain to when he would come back. Then we got the sad news on January 31st, 2023, from Chicago reporter Joe Cowley. Quote, "The Chicago Bulls don't know why Lonzo Ball is still feeling pain in his knee. The medical staff doesn't know why there's still pain. Lonzo Ball and his camp don't know why." End quote. Wow, just an absolute tragedy. Lonzo Ball is suffering setback after setback and isn't likely to return this season. Lonzo hasn't played a game in over a year and will return after almost 2 years if he is healthy next season. But the problem is we don't know if he'll be healthy. This could be the end of Lonzo Ball's career, which would really be unfortunate. Go from hyped up 2nd overall pick to fulfilling your role as a key contributor to a title contender to suddenly potentially not being able to play basketball anymore. That is absolutely heartbreaking. The only thing we can do is hope. We can only hope that Lonzo Ball comes back better than ever and stays healthy.